Hello, it's Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about some books and planners to help you grow and deepen your tarot practice. So over the years, while I do enjoy a daily card pull, and that is something that I integrate into my practice on occasion, I'll do it for a few months and then I'll switch to something else, I have actually found that also adding in specific prompts and practices to my tarot routine has really helped me to deepen my tarot practice, to really connect with my cards, to connect with my individual decks, and to really make the most of my tarot journey. So I thought I'd share with you some of the resources and materials that I've come across over the last year, as well as some of the things that I will be doing myself moving into the next year. So one of the things that I've found really helpful in deepening my tarot practice is to do tarot challenges. Now you can also find these a lot of times on Instagram. I am a huge fan of the Lion Hearts challenges on Instagram, although there are lots of wonderful ones. And those give you sort of daily prompts to help you connect with your practice, connect with your cards. So while I love this idea of the Instagram challenge, I was really excited to actually come across like a printed book that's kind of like a guidebook for this whole idea of doing a daily tarot challenge. And this is the 365-day challenge with Tarot and Oracle for the Busy Souls. Now this is just one of many books from a fellow tarot tuber, but this is a wonderful way to connect daily with your tarot practice that kind of gives you guided prompts. This book provides different tarot challenges to help you really deepen your practice. So like we have day one, we have, how does my religious and cultural background impact my approach to the cards, and how do they influence my readings? And every day there is a guided prompt like this. And I really enjoyed the questions in this. There's a lot of really wonderful activities. It gives you something to kind of focus on. It gives you a plan to follow if you're kind of unsure, or you're kind of just like, I'm over the daily card pull, or maybe you want to add something like this in addition to just a normal daily card pull. So here's a whole section on getting to know your deck in 21 days. I thought this was a really interesting one. It's kind of like a deck interview over 21 days. It's definitely one that I enjoy dipping in and out of, but you can definitely follow it because there are 365 days worth of prompts in here. So you could definitely follow it one every day for an entire year, or you can do kind of like I do and just flip through it, jump in and out, and just do the ones that you feel called to do. But I find that something like this is kind of like a workbook. It kind of provides like a roadmap for creating practice every single day. So another wonderful way to deepen your tarot practice is to do readings in association with various other practices. So for me personally, I have a sort of tarot and moon practice where on the full and new moons, I have specific practices that I do. I also incorporate deity work into that. So if you're looking to start a practice like that, you might consider something like Tarot by the Moon. This is spreads and spells for every month of the year. So something like this, similar to the 365 book we just looked at, basically provides you with a roadmap. It's like a guide to helping you cultivate practice in a certain way. So here you can see, for example, we have Chapter 1 is January, the wolf moon, gives you a little bit of information about the moon, a little bit of information about what you'll be looking at. So here we have some different spreads for tapping into the energy of the moon. You can see there's quite a few of them in here. We have a little bit of kind of magical workings along the way. So talking about the power of intention. And we have also in this particular book, we have spells and rituals to help you further deepen that if you want to tie your particular moon work into some magic. And this is really wonderful for helping you to kind of expand in that kind of way where you're basically incorporating your tarot practice into other aspects of your personal practice. So I think something like this is really wonderful because it, again, provides you a roadmap of something to kind of concrete and solid to come to whenever, you have a particular practice that you want to do. So for me, I intend to actually use this on the full and dark moons to just come and grab one of the spreads out of the section for that appropriate moon and to go ahead and use that as part of my practice for that moon time. And of course, I also incorporate my particular deity work with it as well. So let's talk about a couple of books that aren't necessarily meant for tarot. Now, books that you could use to incorporate into your tarot practice and that you could use much in the same way you would use use one of these types of books. Now, whereas this type of a book, just a general reference guide, doesn't have spreads that are specifically geared toward whatever it is that you're trying to incorporate into your practice. It does, however, provide a framework, a reference. So something like this, if you were and have a witchy practice or your practice is very seasonal based, you might want to look to something that speaks to the idea of the Wheel of the Year, and any sort of witchy magical Wheel of the Year book would work quite well for this. So something like this has a bunch of wonderful reference material in the front, of course, and looking at, just diving deep into seasonal or witchy practice on the whole, but you can also use the sections of the book that are geared toward particular seasons to kind of help you cultivate a reading in relation to that particular season or Sabbath or celebration. Basically, what I do to kind of cultivate spreads out of something like this is to go through the information, and I'm kind of just looking at what is the general idea, what is the general feel of this particular section or season. So here, for example, we're looking at Samhain. We have a subsection of Thinning Veil. We have messages to the spirit world. We have the mythology of Samhain, and then some rituals for Samhain. And some of this I can turn into a tarot spread. I can look through here and I can look at what are some of the key things that I want to focus on maybe this Samhain. As we know, Samhain is the day in which the veil is thin. So maybe I might do a tarot reading based on the thinning veil and what's coming through that for me. Maybe I might combine the thinning veil with the messages from the spirit world to see what's coming through the veil for me. Maybe a couple of cards to see what's coming from the spirit world, what kind of messages are coming through from maybe ancestor. And you can use books like this as sort of a jumping off point, or to provide you with some context for a reading if you want to just in particular, just lay down cards without a particular spread. Spreads are wonderful, and they really help us to kind of create a foundation or context for a reading, but sometimes I find that really great readings, really great information and insights come through when I just lay the cards down and let them kind of reveal to me what they are. And so in this sense, using a book like this is a wonderful way to kind of connect to that energy, to have some context for your reading without actually using a spread. And so this is something that I do quite often. I use my reference materials in my tarot practice because they help me create context for my readings. Another wonderful book for this is The Witch's Herbal Apothecary. This is one of my favorite reference materials and one that I use all the time. And again, in much the same way that I could use the Year of the Witch in terms of creating spreads or readings based on the context of what I'm pulling out of the book, I can do the same with this. So I can pull to the section. So here we're with Earth Magic and the Medicine of Spring. So perhaps maybe around springtime, I might want to do a reading tapping into Earth Magic and the Medicine of Spring. And I can use the information in this book to create context and to create a reading out of it, because I can pull elements out of here. So here we have Rebirth, Regenerate, Expansive Maiden. Those could very easily be 3 spread positions. Where am I going to experience rebirth? Where do I need to regenerate? And how can I tap into that energy of the Expansive Maiden? These are all wonderful prompts to use when exploring your own personal growth and your own personal development through the tarot. These are things that I often do where I'll use my books to kind of help me cultivate a reading or create context for a reading that I want to do around a particular energy or a particular Sabbath or a particular season. This is a really wonderful way to do that. You could do this with any sort of reference material. I could pull any number of books off my shelf and do this exact same practice. They don't have to be geared toward particular season or a particular practice. It can be just any sort of general personal growth type of information. You can even do it with fiction, which is really interesting. But I could just take, say, this little Awaken the World book, and I could open it up, and here's a whole section on change your mind. So maybe that might be the spread that I create based on some of the things that I pick up in this particular material here. And books like this, I think, are really wonderful for kind of combining almost like bibliomancy with tarot. So here, even in the Tao of Pooh, I could pick this up and I could read something that's on this page, and I could create a little spread based on what Eeyore is saying to probably Pooh here, right? And so it's really fun to kind of use things outside of our particular tarot books to create spreads, to connect deeper with our practice. In this way, I can use tarot to connect with various aspects of my personal growth practice, as well as maybe my witchy practice or my moon practice. It really allows me to open things up and to incorporate my cards into many different aspects of my life. So jumping back to some books that are geared toward working with the tarot, and specifically geared to not only helping you connect to your tarot practice, but actually understand and learn the cards of the tarot. So I have two of Andy Matzner's books here. This is the Tarot Activity book. This is a wonderful book for just providing you with some wonderful prompts. Again, similar to that 365 book that we looked at, it has just a really wonderful list of just kind of things and prompts that you can do with your cards. It's definitely a book you could follow in order if you wanted to, but I find that it's also a great one to just kind of dip in and out of. So something like this is really wonderful, not only for helping you to deepen your practice and your understanding of the tarot, it also gives you something different to do with your cards, right? Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I just want to play with my cards. I don't necessarily want to do a reading. I just kind of want to work with them. I want to spend time with them. I want to engage in the imagery, and I want to connect to the tactile experience of the tarot. And something like this creates a really wonderful opportunity for doing that without having to kind of lay down 3 cards and, okay, what do I need to know today? Maybe I've already done that, but I still want to work with the tarot some more. So something like this really provides me with a jumping off point for more activities to do with the tarot. So here's a great one that is the Tarot Haiku, to use tarot cards as an inspiration for this style of poetry. Now, Rochelle at Amethyst Ascension did a whole wonderful video on this. I'll leave that linked for you below because it was fantastic, and you can see actually how this book kind of works in practice. It's really wonderful. There's a lot of really great activities in here. And it's definitely one that I'm looking forward to jumping in and out of throughout the next year. So something like this is just great for when you just want to connect with your cards, but you don't necessarily want to do a reading. So another really great thing to do when you want to connect with your cards, connect to your practice, and really help cultivate that inner dialogue between your inner self and your cards. Journaling is one of the most fantastic ways to do that. If you've been on my channel for more than a hot minute, you probably know that journaling is a huge part of my tarot practice. And it's something that I always recommend for people to help them not only connect with their deck, but to really explore their own personal growth. That is how I primarily work with the tarot, and I find it to be a beautiful practice for that. This is a wonderful way to really explore the tarot card by card. It has guided prompts in it so that you're kind of never wondering what should I write about today? And the thing that I love about this book is it gives just as much weight to the minor arcana as it does the major, which is wonderful because a lot of times we get all of this chock full information with the major arcana, and the minor arcana kind of usually gets like a blurb. And so I love that this book gives just as much weight to each of the cards. But this is a wonderful type of process if you're looking to really deepen your own understanding and your own connection to the individual cards of the tarot. It'll also help you connect with your deck. If you're looking to kind of cultivate a connection with the deck, this is a wonderful way to do that. So doing a guided card by card journaling exercise can be really wonderful. You could go card by card in order, or you could just open it up at random. Or you could incorporate this with your daily draw, where you're just going to shuffle, you're going to pull a card for the day, and then whatever card comes up, you'll go to the book, look up the prompts for that particular card, and that is what you will journal about for the day. So while we're at it, let's just do a little bit of a shameless plug for my own stuff, because I also have a few guides. I do have, this one is in print, and I do have a couple of digitals of guided prompts and practices to help you connect with your cards and to help you deepen your practice. The first one that I created was Tarot Bound, which is really a step-by-step guide to getting to know a tarot deck. It is how I personally study a tarot deck, where it's going to walk you through kind of getting to know your deck. It has exercises, getting to know each of the individual cards. Again, similar to Andy's book, we have some journaling prompts that relate to each of the cards in the tarot. I have some different activities in here for you as well. And again, this is another one that I like to use pretty much anytime I get a new deck in my collection that I really want to deep dive study. This is the process that I follow. So that's definitely something that you could tap into to deepen your practice, to deepen your understanding, and also to deepen your connection with individual decks. So a lot of these practices and books that we've looked at so far do really rely on keeping a tarot journal. And I do really think that that is one of the best things that you can do to really deepen your understanding of the tarot and to help you cultivate a consistent tarot practice. For me, journaling, connecting with my tarot journal, connecting with my cards every single week, it helps keep me growing, it helps keep me learning. And I think that that is really important for keeping a consistent tarot practice. Now, I do also have a digital guide, hopefully will be in print next year, on how to keep a tarot journal if you're completely new. I also have a 3-part series on my channel, which actually goes over some of the different considerations that you might want to look at when you're deciding what kind of a tarot journal to keep and what to put into it. So I'll leave links for all of that for you in the description box below. So we've talked a little bit about tarot journaling and how that can really help us develop a really consistent practice. And you've probably seen my journal, which is kind of basically just a free-form bullet journal. I don't have any specific days lined up in here. There's no calendars. There's nothing like that to kind of keep me consistent in that way. Now, this particular process works great for me for the types of readings that I do in terms of my kind of week ahead, in terms of my larger spreads where I dive deeper, and my more creative spreads where I'm looking at kind of exploring different avenues of creativity. That all works really, really well in here. But occasionally, I like to have a bit more structure to my tarot practice, and this is something that I'm going to be doing in 2022 as well, in addition to working with my primary tarot journal. And this is kind of reverting back to my card a day practice. Now, this is something that I like to do in particular when I am looking at diving deep into a deck that I feel like I would benefit from working with a card every single day. So for that particular instance, and a great example of this is I'm going to be doing this with the Thoth Tarot all of 2022. And one of the things that I like to do with this is to use an actual dated calendar for my tarot pulls. Now, I find this to be really helpful for daily pulls in particular, but I think you can use a dated planner as a basic tarot journal anytime. So this is the 2022 Lunar and Seasonal Diary by Stacey DeMarco from Rockpool. This is the Northern Hemisphere version. There is a Southern Hemisphere version as well. And this is a really beautiful dated planner. Now, one of the things that I really like about this is they incorporate a lot of practices that are a part of my general personal growth, spiritual, and tarot practice as well. So we have things that relate to the seasons, the Sabbats, and the moons in here. And all of those are key elements in my personal practice, and I'm sure they're key elements for a lot of you as well. So we have this beautiful year at a glance calendar. And of course, this planner is full of Stacey DeMarco artwork, so it's absolutely beautiful. So one of the things that I really love about a dated planner like this is it does give you a dedicated space every single day to record your readings. And that for me can really help keep me consistent because I kind of have almost like a checkbox for each day. Whereas when I'm working in a journal like this, where there's nothing dated, it's just whenever I feel like doing readings in here. Whereas a dated planner, I feel like helps me kind of keep me on track. Now, this planner has a lot of extra stuff in it, so it might also serve really well as kind of like a dated magical grimoire or almost like a book of shadows in a sense, because it has additional elements beyond just recording a daily reading. Now, you could also use this as any sort of daily planner, right? But today we're talking specifically about tarot. So here we have some ideas about getting clear about kind of what you want for 2022. That can be a great way to connect with setting your intention for the new year. And you could, if you wanted to make this a dedicated tarot journal, you could answer these questions in relation to your tarot practice. So what are my needs? What are my needs to have a consistent tarot practice, right? What am I devoted to right now? Maybe what decks am I really wanting to work with? Maybe what systems am I really wanting to learn? Maybe am I wanting to really connect with using tarot with moon work? That might be something that I put in there. And so I think this can be really wonderful for helping you get really clear about your tarot practice as well. We have the moon cycles and phases. Again, this is really handy if you are looking at incorporating moon work into your tarot practice. We have elements and directions, and then we also have the wheel of the year. If you want to incorporate tarot into Sabbats, that's really wonderful. And so we have some additional information just to help you kind of connect with different practices. We have a sort of intention page for each month. Again, this could be just in general, what your intentions are for the month, or you could make it very specific to your tarot practice if you are using this as a tarot journal. Another thing that this planner includes is a goddess for each month. So if that's something that you're looking at incorporating into your tarot practice, you could use this as your jumping off point for that as well, which is really wonderful. And then here we go into the weekly layouts. Now this kind of a layout is what I would basically use for a card a day pull. And I will record what my card is and record my reading in there. And you have it for every week. So we also have the moon phases in here, which is really wonderful, and that can definitely help you if you're going to tie in moon work into your tarot practice. So again, we see February, we have the intention page, our goddess. Every turn of the wheel, there is information about that in case you'd like to incorporate some of that into your workings. And then again, you have the weekly layout. I think a dated planner like this is something that is really wonderful for helping you create a consistent practice, because it does give you a place to record something every single day. So it helps make you mindful to pull a card every single day, to do a little reading every single day. And I think this is really wonderful. And this is a gorgeous, gorgeous book. So one of the things that I find to be really helpful in keeping a consistent tarot practice is to have certain days that I work with my tarot cards. Now for me, that tends to be 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, with occasional readings, additional readings on the weekends if I have time and if I feel called to. Now that doesn't mean that I don't do readings in between. If I feel called to, or if I have a question about something or something that I need some guidance on, I will certainly do readings in between. But having consistent days, having a schedule, so to speak, helps me to cultivate a very consistent tarot practice, and it helps integrate it into my life in a meaningful way. So I think creating a kind of routine for your tarot practice can be really helpful, particularly if you are, just new or trying to develop the routine and the habit of working with your cards regularly. So now time for another shameless promotion. I do also want to mention that starting in 2022, actually starting at the very end of December, and moving into throughout the whole of 2022. In my membership program in the Weaver level, we will be doing the monthly medicine, which is where we will be working together through a guided monthly tarot practice. So if you have been on my Facebook group and you have seen some of the monthly practice prompts that I have done there, that is going to be similar to what we're going to be doing in the membership program, where every month I'm going to provide you with prompts, with activities, with spreads to really help you cultivate a consistent tarot practice and to help you dive deeper into your work with the cards. So if that is something that you're interested in, that kind of combines everything we've seen here, definitely go check that out. I will leave a link for you in the description box below. So now let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to be doing in 2022. I am going to be using my same tarot journal because I love this thing. It's my tarot journal. I may change up some of the inserts on the inside, but as far as like my daily things go, I'm still going to be pretty much following the same process I have been. I'll be incorporating the monthly medicine that I'll be doing with my weavers in here, and that will create the basis for my tarot practice. This is a process and a practice that works really well for me. I feel like it really does help me to create consistency in my life. It really helps me to get clear about the things that I'm doing or why I'm doing them, become mindful of the energies that are around me and things that are going on. And it's just a really wonderful practice that helps me connect not only with the tarot, but with myself. It helps me connect with the seasons, with the moons, with my deities, and it's a really wonderful practice overall. So I'll be doing my weekly readings pretty much as I have been in this particular tarot journal all throughout the next year, and I'll be using that in conjunction with the monthly medicine in our Weaver membership. I will, of course, also continue doing my moon work with my deities and my certain decks and readings that I do for that, as well as my seasonal readings for each of the 4 major shifts of the seasons. And I'm also going to be incorporating next year a daily Thoth practice. I will be using a daily planner for my daily Thoth card pulls. And this is just a cheapy, no nonsense, no frills, dated planner that I bought off of Amazon. It doesn't have the lunar associations or the astrological associations as something like this does, which is a little bit of a bummer. But one of the things that I do like about this one is it does have the monthly calendar. And so I can record each of my card pulls every day, like shorthand on the calendar. So every month I'll be able to really quick glance at this calendar and see what cards I've gotten every day throughout the whole year, which I think will be really fun at the end of the year. And again, you can see here, it's just similar to the last planner we looked at. It's basically just a weekly layout. There's all kinds of different layouts that you can do for this. For a card a day pull, I find that the weekly layout like this works great for me because it's just enough space for me to write a little bit about what card I've pulled. Now, unlike my tarot journal where I do the printouts and all the fancy stuff and I get really creative in here, this is really just about recording the information. It's not about being fancy. It's not about being creative. It is about learning the deck, connecting with the cards. And so every day I will pull my Thoth card and I'll write down what card it was, maybe a little bit about what that card means, and that will be my practice for the day. And as I mentioned with the other dated planner, I think this is really wonderful for just getting the information down. Like if you don't want the whole kind of open expansiveness of just a blank notebook, this can be a great alternative. It gives you a place to write your readings every single day. It gives you a way to stay consistent, but it's not so much space that, you know, you're overwhelmed by it. So for me, this is the dated planner that I will be using for my daily Thoth card pull, and I'll be recording that. And then of course I'll be doing my normal readings in my tarot journal as always. So that is what I'm going to be doing in 2022. I'm going to be doing my normal thing plus adding a daily card pull with the Thoth. I will, of course, also be following my tarot bound because there are a couple of decks that I'd like to study in 2022, so I'll be following that process. I will be doing some moon work with my tarot practice, and for that, I'm going to be dipping in and out of this particular Tarot by the Moon book. When I want to just play with my cards, I'm going to turn to the Tarot Activity book by Andy Matzner. That's definitely something that I'm looking forward to just dipping in and out of. Same with the 365-day challenge. Again, these are two books that I will personally be using just kind of when I want to play, when I want to have some fun with my cards. I want to just spend a little time working with them. So then I'll also be incorporating some from Journaling the Tarot, in particular with my Thoth studies, because I think that's going to be really helpful for learning that particular system. So for me personally, the rock pull planner I'm going to be using to help me kind of record and track things in relation to seasonal shifts, moon phases, and things of that nature, so I can kind of see how things develop over the year. So while this may seem like a lot, you know, keeping in mind that these things are the ones that I'm going to be kind of dipping in and out of throughout the year, so not something that I'm going to be doing on a daily basis. These will be books that I get into when I have something specific that I want to do or a specific practice that I'm working on. My primary tarot practice is going to be foundationally through the monthly medicine and then doing my daily Thoth card pulls. For me, it's really important that my tarot practice remain consistent. I find that the more consistent it is, the better it sort of works for me. The more impact it has on my life, the more I become aware of the energies and the influences that affect things that I do or things around me, as well as helps me create deeper connections with my individual decks and understanding the tarot cards on the whole. So that is what I am planning on doing in 2022 to help me deepen and connect with my tarot practice. I would love to know what your plans are, so feel free to share with me in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for more creative tarot for an inspired life.